Do you find yourself at a point lately where you're experiencing a higher than usual level of stress? Some of the signs might be that you worry about things more than you used to worry about things, or you're having a harder time getting to sleep at night, or maybe when you do get to sleep, you're having a hard time staying there. And then you're also maybe dealing with the signs of fatigue and stuff that comes with that. Well, today I'm going to share with you a very recent experience that I've been having to deal with. And I'm going to share with you how I managed to get through it and deal with it, and how I'm continuing to deal with it on a daily basis. Let's dive in. Welcome to episode 5 of the LeRock Show, where I'm here to help you get your fitness back on track at any age and regardless of your current fitness condition, so you can spend more quality time with your family, have a brighter outlook on life, and finally find the true joy that life has to offer. I'm your host, LeRock. I feel so lucky and blessed to be at peace and to be able to sit and share this message with you today about something that I personally have gone through recently and something that I'm dealing with every day, so that I just know that this message can help some people out there that maybe are struggling with the recent high levels of stress that have come about. A lot of it due to this crazy pandemic we're going through, and just all the ripple effects that it has on our society. For those of you listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify today, thank you for listening, and thanks for the reviews, because it really does help me to grow my audience and get my message out there. If you're watching on YouTube, I look forward to your comments each week, the likes, the engagements, because it really does motivate me to help you more, and it also gives me ideas for future shows. Now, today's episode is a humbling one for me to share. It's about an experience that I've had recently, and how I've had to deal with it, and how I'm continuing to deal with it on a daily basis. And I just know that today's episode has the power to help a lot of people. So it's not something that's easy for me to do, but it is something that I know I need and should do for the benefit of my audience. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with you, hesitantly, but I know it can be of some value. But before we dive in, for those of you who are dealing with stress, one of the symptoms of stress is stress eating, eating incorrectly. And you may have heard that I put together a diet called Automate Your Plate. It helped me greatly going through what I've been going through. It kept me on track. There was still a little bit of stress eating in there, but my Automate Your Plate eating approach really did help me, and it was a really good tool in my arsenal and helped me keep on track with my health and fitness. It didn't let it overwhelm me and take me over. If you're interested in that kind of an eating approach, you may have heard me talk about it in previous episodes. Right now I have a free checklist that I put together. I talk about Automate Your Plate in my book. It's one of the 9 directives. I also teach about it on my online course, but I put together this checklist so that everybody could get quick and easy access to this, so they could get started right away. It talks you through step 1, step 2, step 3, and so on of what Automate Your Plate is, a little section of my book. And it really has had a lot of impact on people that have tried it. They've been able to lose weight quickly, easily, and it helps just take out all the confusion that's out there. So if you're interested in that, you can go to my website, ethanlerock.com/automate. So that's ethanlerock.com/automate. So you can download it and begin taking advantage of it right away. Okay, so how do we deal with the symptoms of stress? For this episode, I'm going to share with you my 2020 story and how stress affected me. And I believe that's what it was. I'm not 100% sure, but I do believe that that's what might have been part of the cause of what I went through. In my house, in my family, I'm known as the person who sleeps like a bear. So there could be a car outside blaring its horn. There could be a storm at night, a thunderstorm brewing. There could be all kinds of commotion, and I can sleep through it very easily. I'm known for that. In fact, I've had people that have been upset with me the fact that I can sleep so well. Well, what happened to me at the end of, towards the end of 2020 is I started waking up early in the night for no apparent reason. And at first it just seemed like, wow, just something might be a little bit off. Maybe I have too much caffeine in my diet or whatever. I thought it was something physical, right? So I didn't really do much about it. I work full time. So I work, anywhere between 40 to 45 hours a week, roughly. And each night I'd go to bed, and what happened is I was becoming less and less and less sleep at night. At first I'd wake up, an hour into my sleep, and I'd be up for a little bit, and then I'd be able to go back to sleep. Eventually got to the point where I was getting almost zero sleep. I would fall asleep and I would wake up 20 minutes in, and it would be like I was lit up, like bzzz, like this. It was like I could hear the lights humming. You know what I mean? It was freaky stuff. And my mind would be trying to figure problems out, and I'd be trying to, solve various things that I can't even articulate because they made no sense. And I would fall back to sleep. I'd be dreaming about trying to solve some sort of problem. And then I'd wake up, and then I'd be laying there in the bed thinking about how I could solve the problem, whatever it might be. And it just random, different, weird, different things all the time. Now, being somebody like me who's been strong and fit and in control and doing really well in life for the last 15 plus years, it came as a real shock to me. And I didn't really know how to deal with it. And I can tell you right now, it wasn't because I was brave or anything like that. It wasn't because I was brave or I was stubborn, and that's why it went on for so long. It's just a matter of I didn't really understand if it was a problem at first. And then by the time I actually realized it, I was actually just about 2 months into it, of not being able to sleep for 2 months. And, just to give you a little bit of perspective, okay, on who I am. In my career, I'm a manager. I've been a manager for most of my life. I started out being a manager of people, and now I'm a manager of projects. I work in a fast-paced environment. And like I said, I only work 40 to 45 hours a week by choice, and I work really hard on that so that I can get in and get out. And I'm very efficient in what I do in order to operate at that level. In my home life, I'm married to an amazing wife, very supportive, caring person. We have a great relationship. I have a daughter who's grown and moved out. She's been out for a few years now. She's a nurse. She's a frontline worker. She works over in the States, in Michigan. We also have a wonderful son who lives upstairs from us in our upper level of our house. He has a passion and loves to make music. We have another son who's a bit older, and he lives full-time out in Costa Rica, and he works full-time as an online marketer. And other than that, I helped raise 2 children when in my earlier marriage, a couple twins, amazing kids, and now amazing adults. And I have one other son who's a biological son, and he lives with his 2 angels, his grandmother and his aunt. They've raised him since he was a little baby, and he has cerebral palsy. And other than that, that's pretty much the dynamic of my family. So like many, I spent a couple months there working from home remotely. I think I had 1 week off where I actually wasn't working when the pandemic all started. But all in all, I'm telling you, I can't tell the difference that there is a pandemic. In the automotive industry, things are extremely busy. Things are always changing and shifting, and there's all kinds of work being done right now. So for me, it's actually been kind of busier than it was before the whole pandemic hit. So like I said, I started having this sleep pattern issue. And about 2 months in, I noticed it was a real problem. 3 months in is when all poop hit the fan, okay? I ended up having to call my place of work and say, I just can't. I got to the point where it was such a vicious circle of not sleeping and trying to solve problems and then waking up and then dealing with problems all day and then trying to get to sleep at night. It became a real vicious circle. And it got to the point where I couldn't make decisions. Like, it was really wild. I still don't know 100% what it was. I thought it was something physical. I thought, oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? Do I have some sort of your brain, you just go crazy, right? You start thinking, do I have a brain tumor? Is something off in my thyroid or something weird that's causing me to feel this way? Do I have diabetes and somehow I get diabetes? Like your mind is just continually racing. And just the fact that I used to be such a sound sleeper and now I can't sleep at all, it was like a real mystery to me. And I was trying to solve it. I was on Google all the time trying to figure out the answers. But in the end, 3 months into it, I ended up having to take some time off work. I ended up taking 7 weeks off work. It took about 4 of those weeks for me to get myself stabilized and get back to normal where I can actually sleep through the night. And I am, touch wood, I'm actually sleeping through the night, and I have been for a very long time now. And that's why I'm able to talk to you about it today with some sense, right? I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. So through this whole thing, there are some things that I've discovered and I've learned. I discovered some heroes in my life that I didn't know I had. And that's something that's been a really great takeaway from this whole thing. And I've also discovered some life lessons that I can share with you because I know it is a very stressful time right now. And there may be many people that are out there that are dealing with this stuff and aren't quite sure what the next step is. If not being able to sleep at night is one of the problems you have, then this is a great episode for you. In regard to heroes, I'll tell you right now, I was 3 months into this thing, not being able to sleep. And it's a humbling, I'm a leader. I'm a type of person who's always been strong. I'm organized. I'm fit. I'm confident. And I had to call my employer and say, I can't come in today because I can't I can't sleep at night. And, when you're in that state of that mental state where you're feeling humble and frustrated and vulnerable, and that's what I shared. Like I felt humiliated and embarrassed because I'm really hard on myself when it comes to what level I should be at. I'm my worst critic. I always have been. So when you call your employer up, that can be a pretty intimidating thing to do. And my employer, instead of bothering me and instead of treating me like I did something wrong, said, don't worry, get yourself taken care of. Like I shared how bad I felt, and that I felt like I was letting the team down. And my boss didn't care. He said, don't worry about it. Just get yourself better. Gave me a number that I could call. And that was the first step, right, in me figuring things out. So I called the number, of course. It was a psychotherapist, they call them. They're there for people that are having challenges at work, whatever it might be. In my case, I had this insomnia thing and I couldn't function properly, right? So, so I'd say another one of my heroes was a psychotherapist that I actually talked to. She was kind and caring, intelligent. She listened to what I had to say. And as I talked through it all, she said, I think you might be dealing with stress-related symptoms. This might be a stress-related thing, but it also could be physical, Ethan, to be truthful with you. It could be. You should get checked out. And she was there for me to talk to when it's a kind of a scary time, a scary thing you're going through, right? So that experience for me, she was another one of my heroes. she really helped me to guide me as I was talking to her. The next thing I had to deal with, in Canada, we have free healthcare, which means, yes, we don't have to pay for a lot of things, but it also means our healthcare system is booked. It's very hard to get a doctor. And me being Mr. Healthy and Fit guy, I haven't been to a doctor in decades. I don't get ill very often. And if I do, it's usually a quick little thing where I don't have to go to my doctor. So over the years, my actual family doctor retired like 20 something years ago. And I didn't even know. So I didn't have a doctor to go to. So I'm scrambling. I went on a website and I tried to find a doctor through our government. I was coming up dead there. So I'm dealing with stress and anxiety. I went to the clinic. They said, hey, you know what, man? We can't really help you here. You need to have a doctor, a family doctor that you can talk to. So another hero that came into my life is one that's been in my life since I was born. And that's my brother. He was there for me. He hooked me up with a couple of good doctors. Thank goodness my brother was there for me. He came through. He made phone calls. His doctor wasn't taking patients. His doctor said, tell you what, if you come in, if you book an appointment, so he told my brother, if you book an appointment, you come in, that's the only way you're going to be able to, we're going to talk to you first, and then you're going to have to tell me what's going on, and then maybe I'll take your brother on. So my brother had to take time out of his busy life, book an appointment with the doctor, and then, yes, he ended up getting me a queue, get me placed in the queue with his doctor, but I had to wait a while. So in the meantime, I'm still lit up. I can't sleep at night. I don't know what to do. I'm in a bad state. I can't go to work. And he ended up getting another great doctor out in Leamington, which is south of Windsor here in Canada. And that doctor was amazing. I actually sat down with him. He took 45 minutes to talk to me about what I was going through. Checked my heart, checked my lungs, had some blood work done on me, checked my blood pressure, and it was really thorough. And he actually he was the first. He said, I'm going to try to give you some sort of a pill to help you sleep at night, because you are on a high level right now of you're wired, and you need to be able to at least sleep at night. So I'm the kind of guy who, I don't even like to take Tylenol, I don't even like to take anything, to tell you the truth. I don't like taking medication. But he talked me into trying out a little sleeping pill at night, just a half of it. And that was another great thing. It helped me to knock myself out a little bit. The problem there was, and that's why it takes a while to actually get yourself back on track, is it made me super groggy the next day. Because I don't do any drugs. I don't do those types of things. So I was like, oh, the next day I couldn't even think straight, So we kept playing with the dosage until we got it to a point where I could actually live with it. So that was, my brother hooked me up with these two wonderful doctors. I do have a family doctor now, the one here in Windsor. And again, I went to see him. He put me through the gambit because I haven't been to a doctor in years, so I had to do everything, right? I'm 51. I think I'm 51. And I had to go through all those doctor's appointments I had missed. So imagine how fun that was. So luckily, I don't have any kinds of cancer or anything like that, which is great. And physically, I'm doing okay. But there's still, I had to find ways to find peace, really. The sleeping pill helps me sleep through the night, but how do you find peace? When you're in this crazy world we live in right now with all the stuff that comes at you. And I practice some really good things in my life. I don't watch television excessively. I don't focus on negative things. I have positivity in my life at all times. But even then, I was having this issue with not being able to sleep at night. So this is where the next hero comes into my life, and that's my sister. As I was talking to the psychotherapist, she said, you should maybe think about meditation. You know, you can close your eyes and say Om and stuff like that, right? And I'm like, well, you know, I've tried that before. I've gone onto YouTube and I've tried doing some meditation, and it seemed like mumbo jumbo to me. It seemed like, yeah, I don't know. It didn't sit well with me. I was too anxious. I was too hyperactive to do it. And it wasn't something I could jive with. Let's put it that way. And then I mentioned that my sister was a yogi. I don't know why I mentioned that, but I said, my sister's a yogi. She knows how to meditate. And she says, you should go and talk to your sister. Have you talked to your sister yet? And I said, no, I'm not going to bug her with my problems. And she says, give your sister a call and ask her maybe to help you meditate, because meditation can really help. I know a lot of people it's helped. So I gave my sister that painful phone call. You know, hey, big sister, you know, I got a problem. Sleeping at night, I'm feeling anxious. I can't relax. I don't know why. I usually sleep like a bear, but right now I can't sleep at all. And my sister said, no problem. She says, what are you doing? I said, nothing. She goes, okay, let's find a quiet place and I'll talk you through it. And she talked me through some various meditations. And in my mind, I always thought meditation was about something religious. I thought it was a spiritual thing. And that's why I had a hard time with it. I always felt like there was something else I should know more. I really wasn't made to do this because I don't believe in a lot of the things that go with some forms of meditation. But what she taught me was meditation wasn't just about spirituality or Buddhism or any of these different religions out there. It was actually about, one of the key things to meditation is just being able to quiet the mind. Quiet the busy, crazy, chattery, they call it the monkey mind. And she talked me through a few meditations, starting with my breath. So the first thing she taught me was about breathing, proper way to breathe when you're meditating, breathing from the stomach first, filling your lungs from the stomach, and then as they fill, the last part of your lungs that should fill up is your top. Most people in society today, because of vanity mainly, breathe through their chest. They don't want their stomachs to be popping out, so they breathe through their chests. And what happens with that, your lungs are shaped like this. So if you're breathing through the small part of your lungs first, you're not actually fully filling them. And when you understand that and you start thinking about it consciously and actually breathing through your abdomen first, or your stomach first, and then, you know, practicing some breathing techniques where you breathe in nice and deep and then you let it out really slow. So this is an example of that. I'm just going to share it with you really quick. This is on a podcast, so I can't really get into it so much because I don't want to bore the people that are listening, but it's like, you know, you take a deep breath and then you let it out slow. And you do that, and you take time to just relax. And what they find is people that are pretty anxious sometimes aren't breathing very deeply. They breathe very shallowly. Sometimes they don't breathe at all. They hold the breath and don't even know it. So if you can start practicing breathing techniques, it can really be helpful. It has been for me. There were other things that we did as well. One was she had me close my eyes and starting at my feet, practice this thing called relaxation. And I would this is what you do. So you close your eyes, you lay in a bed, you're in the quiet, and you start at your feet. And you say to yourself, I'm relaxing my feet. I'm relaxing my feet. My feet are relaxed. And you're breathing, right? You're breathing these deep breaths and letting it out slow. And then you move up and you say, I'm relaxing my calves. I'm relaxing my calves. My calves are relaxed. And you slowly move up your body to each muscle group until you're at the very tip of your head. You're at the top. And by the time you get to the top of your head doing that and breathing correctly and saying this to yourself, it actually relaxes you. It's an amazing thing. So the next thing she showed me was closing my eyes. You're doing the same thing again in the quiet. And she calls it listening for the quietest sound in the room. So you're sitting there with your eyes closed and you're listening to all corners of the room. And what it does, all it's doing is it's taking your mind off anything else. You're unable to focus on more than one thing at a time. And it takes your mind off any kind of a thought that you might have. And it just focuses you in on that sound that you're trying to listen for. So that was a really cool one. The next meditation she showed me was called, it was making bumblebee sounds of all things. I'm like, bumblebee sounds? What are you talking about? She goes, you close your eyes, you put your tongue on the top of your mouth, and you go, taking a deep breath, starting at your stomach, fill your lungs, and then you go, just like that. And what it does is it instantly relaxes your brain. Just do a couple of those. You would not believe how good that feels. She says what it is there's a vibration that goes to the amygdala of your brain, and it tells your brain that everything's okay, that everything's going to be okay. It's some sort of a physical thing. And it does. It feels amazing when you do it. So I did those things. Those were the main ones that I did, and it really helped me. And then I had one other phone call with my sister after the fact, and we talked about it a little bit more. And I said, you know, that bumblebee thing, it really feels cool. It makes me feel so relaxed. Like, it's really helped. She goes, really what that is that's the beginning of chanting. That's the beginning of learning how to do the Om, in yoga, meditation. And I said, oh, yeah, it kind of does sound like that a little bit. So I started she taught me how to do the Om properly, right? And she had an amazing gift for talking me through it, like nothing I've ever seen on YouTube or anything like that. Just an amazing, she's very talented. And she is one of my heroes. She talked me through and I learned how to do the Om properly. And if you look into that on the internet, Om is very peaceful. It's just it's an amazing practice to try. And I'm telling you right now, I didn't do any of that stuff before. Okay, I'm a physical guy. I like going to the gym and working out and, throwing the weights around and doing things that are challenging. And I love that stuff. And I've never tried this stuff before, but you know what? I've been doing it for months now. And it has had a significant impact on why I am where I am today and why I'm feeling good again. It was a scary time at the end of 2020, and it was just the unknown, right? The unknown is always scary. But, it did teach me a lot. It taught me about some heroes that I have in my life, and it taught me about some life skills that I need to learn and practice. And so I've learned them. And I share those with you today because I know it's not talked about enough. I've always believed that everything, and you've heard me before, and if you've taken my course or any of that stuff or read my book, I have a very strong belief that the mind and the body and your thoughts and what you have, they are all connected. And you have to keep them all in shape. And I thought I was doing a pretty darn good job. I practice gratitude every day. I would say I'm so thankful for my family. I would say I'm so thankful for my daughter, that she's healthy and happy. Well, since this happened, every day I have a morning ritual where I do some oming, right? I do some chanting, some oming, just to relax my mind. And then it's followed by a good 10 solid minutes. Now, I used to practice gratitude. I'd think of 3 things I could be thankful for every day. I sit and say, I actually sit there and I verbally say things that I'm thankful for a good 10 minutes. When you have something happen to you, like happened to me at the end of 2020 and into the early 2021, when you have that happen to you, every little thing that you have in life, you become very, very, very thankful for. And that's what's happened to me. I don't have a problem thinking about what I'm thankful for now. I have tons of things, not just the obvious things, not just my wife and my daughter and my family and all that good stuff, but I mean the most minute little thing I am so very thankful for. And when you get there, it does give you a very different feeling about life. It gives you it's more than about you. Life is about everything around you and what you can do to make it better. And that's the emphasis it's given me, is that life is about giving and about helping. And I'm hoping that today's episode has been some help to you. So the one thing that I'm very happy about is that when I went to see the doctor, the very first thing he asked me when I was telling him about my situation is he asked me about my diet. And he could physically see me, and he was like, I have to tell you this because it's part of my job, but to deal with stress, you should be eating a healthy diet that's balanced, and that, you know, you're feeding yourself throughout the day, you're not starving yourself, or that you're not overeating. And I described my diet to him. I described my automate your plate approach to him. And he's like, don't worry about it. He says, I knew that looking at you, but I had to, he says, your eating approach you just described to me is perfect. It's exactly what you need. You're getting a balanced amount of food and nutrition coming in. You're not spiking your blood sugar, and you're keeping yourself healthy on a consistent basis. So that's awesome. That's one thing you don't have to worry about. And it was very relieving to know that, to hear the doctor say that. And like I told you at the beginning of the video, I have put together a cheat sheet, or a checklist, I call it, for automating your plate. It takes you from step 1 through the end, and it's basically like a quick start guide. You don't have to watch any videos or go to get my online course or read the book or anything. It's just gets you running with it right away. And it could be of great benefit to you if you are looking for some sort of way to eat, some new exciting eating approach. Then Automate Your Plate is definitely that. Just go to ethanlerock.com/automate, and you can download it there. And for those of you who are on YouTube, I'll put a link down below, and you can click on there. You can start using it today. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, I urge you, please comment on the video. If it helped you, let me know. For those of you on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts, feel free to leave me a review, a comment, so I can see how you felt about the episode. It was a tough one for me to share. I had to stop the recording a few times, actually, because it's very, very personal for me, this whole thing that I just went through. But I do really want you to be able to benefit. I know if I just kept it to myself like I have been, because it's now it's like we're into April and I haven't said anything about it, but I felt that it was time. It was time for me to share it with you and to let you know that I'm okay, and that you're going to be okay too. We can get through this stuff together. And I know this pandemic stuff and the lockdowns and everything can just wear on you. I know. And it can make you angry at times. And it can make you frustrated at times. And it can make you scared at times. But just know that there are people like me. There are people like you that are out there that care about each other and that are there for each other and that love each other. And we can get through this together. We will get through this together. And we will be okay. And if you are dealing with stress, by all means, please, first thing you should do is talk to your doctor. And the next thing you should do is reach out to your friends, your family, anybody that can help you. And practice some of these things I talked about today. You know, get a checkup done by the doctor. Get your blood tested. Make sure you're okay physically. And then look at ways you can relax the mind. That's really key. And I bet you have some heroes in your life that you didn't know you had. And you find those things out when you go through tough times in life, like I just did. It's very humbling, you know. I learned about the people that have my back. I learned a lot about that, and I'm thankful for that. And I'm thankful for you today. So I hope this episode was of some benefit today. Until we meet again, stay healthy, be happy, and live your life with intention every single day.